Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy CEO, says trading Bitcoin is a sign of a lesser intellect. Are you surprised? Find out why he holds such a view in this video.
If you want to preserve your wealth, you have to convert that currency into an asset that's scarce, desirable, portable, durable, and maintainable. Right? There are certain things that are scarce and desirable, but they don't move, like beachfront property. And by the way, maintainable, if you own $1 million of property in Miami, you have to pay $20,000 a year, every year, to maintain it, and it gets assessed up. So you have to have $1 million to cover the taxes on $1 million of property in Miami Beach over about 20 years. You can't maintain it.
A quick question though, which asset do you think has these listed qualities? Leave your thoughts in the comment section.
So you're going to be a smart investor. Here's smart investors, people bragging about making money in the stock market. The S&P index is going up 7 to 8% a year. And so you must be really smart. You invested in companies that are making good decisions. Look at the money supply. The money supply is going up at the same rate as the S&P index. And so what you begin to realize is most investment gains aren't really gains at all. All you're doing is simply tracking the monetary inflation rate if you're lucky. Now let's talk about all the assets. Okay, this is a 30-year or 20-year return on asset classes compiled by JP Morgan. On the far right, you see commodities. They're awful. Commodities are silver, gold, natural gas, especially oil, soybeans, lumber, pork bellies. Why are commodities awful? Because humans are really good at creating more of them, and they will drive the price down using technology, ingenuity, and capital. Commodities lose you money. Cash, also pretty awful. Now, you see the inflation rate that the largest bank in the United States marks? They mark it at 2%. That's what the government tells you their inflation rate target is, 2%. That's their consumer inflation rate. That's fake. Right? Every single 10 years or every few years, I'll just redefine the market basket of goods, and I'm going to put drywall and manufactured biscuits and Netflix videos and something cheap. You can be sure I take the expensive stuff and I move it out of the consumer basket, and I take cheap stuff and I put it in the consumer basket. And you're moving toward a world where you'll live in a 300 square foot apartment constructed of drywall, sitting on a cheap rickety plastic chair with a set of goggles on while you imagine yourself in a beautiful universe with a bunch of digital stuff. And you'll get digital healthcare, and you'll get digital entertainment, and you'll have digital friends, and you'll take digital trips to digital vacation destinations in your digital jet. And everything will be good. That's the problem with the CPI. Now, look at the S&P index, right? You feel like you're a genius if you're getting 7.5% against that. Well, what if I told you the real inflation rate of the US dollar over 100 years is about 7.5 to 8%. That's the actual inflation. Now you see the average investor is getting 2.9% when they're smart. Commodities are less. The S&P is underperforming the inflation rate. Look in the far left. What's your best chance? It's called a REIT, Real Estate Investment Trust. If you have a property company and you buy the scarce, desirable real estate in the middle of London or New York, and if you can generate a yield on it, and if you're really good at it, you might be able to just barely keep your head above water. But you know, none of these look all that compelling, right? I mean, investment consists of either losing your money fast or losing your money slow, or after 100 years of brilliance, assuming that the government doesn't fail and you don't have your assets seized. And I didn't include taxes. As long as you don't die, you don't have any capital gains, and you don't have any inheritance tax, you might barely just keep what you had 100 years ago in this world. Most investors, they just perform poorly because of bad habits. What kind of bad habits? This is a 30-year chart of returns on the S&P index. And this chart tells you that if you missed one day, there's one day every year when 85%, 90% of all of the gains come. One day. And there are 36 hours a year when all investment return takes place. So in 365 days, nothing happens 99.5% of the time. This is why we have the laser eyes. This is why we say hodl.
Here we go. Pay attention to what he says next and tell me what you think in the comment section.
Because, and I have said before, trading Bitcoin is a sign of lesser intellect. If I were to say 1% of the days you could trade successfully, I would be overstating your odds of success. You literally have to find the 24 hours out of 365 days when the market moves, and you will be wrong 99+% of the time if you trade. You're going to sit here and Bitcoin's going to be whatever it's going to be, and then one day you're going to wake up and it's going to double. And if you miss that day, you're going to be kicking yourself. HODL, don't trade. Most people destroy themselves by thinking that they actually can time the market. This is a chart as of about a month ago. And what it shows is year to date, 1% of the companies in the S&P index had all the gain. If you look at this chart this week, the number for there are 493 companies in the S&P index that have collectively 0% return, and there are 7 that have 50% return. And another way to say that is 99% of the companies cannot keep up with inflation. You think you're going to pick stocks? You're going to pick the winner? There's a 99% chance you won't. And maybe there's a bigger idea here, which is if you have one of the greatest companies in the world, there's a 99% chance after 100 years of being great, you still can't keep up with inflation. And this is why I say maybe your hard work doesn't matter as much as government policy matters. You're not going to find the winner 99% of the time. And
this is it for this video. Want to see the rest of this video where he talks about money and more about Bitcoin? Make sure you're subscribed so you know when I upload the next video.